told you that I'm from every country in the world. Well, according to any accurate map of the world, almost 200 countries populate the Earth, and most people identify with maybe one or two of them, but I've always found it important to identify with as many of them as I can. With many different confusing definitions for nation states and nation states, it's really daunting to maybe recognize all of them or any of them. And a country can be defined politically, geographically, and includes, but is not limited to, cultural aspects. So a map that shows all the colorful and different countries together represents my own personal culture. By hearing me talk about the world map, hopefully you'll be able to identify with other cultures internationally. So first I'm going to talk about the important ideas that make a map more than just a drawing of random land blobs in water. And then I'll talk about why this tediously drawn piece of paper helps me identify more with both myself and everyone else. So the great thing about the map is that it defines all cultures everywhere. It shows direction. You know what you're looking for, where it is, and how to get there. And with the help of a map, you can get anywhere at any time. Each culture possesses its own space, and it has its own recognition within the map. The bold letters that separate each country lets you know that it's unique, and it has its own set of values. It's home for huge masses of people. Together they paint a colorful portrait of who we are as human beings. And it shows all countries. No piece of land that defines its own set of culture is excluded. Where do I fit in here? Obviously I'm American, but that means I'm only part of the map, right? In a literal sense, that's true. But the uniqueness that makes a cohesive planet has become a relatable characteristic for me. I have differing interests, and they all make up different conflicting cultural ideas that make up who I am. For example, in the United States, a lot of people are always working really hard and stressing out and trying to accomplish their goals as fast as they can. Whereas in one of my favorite countries, Nepal, the daily routine is a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more peaceful. I'm the same way. Sometimes I'm really stressed out and I'm working to get something done really fast, as fast as I can. And then other times I'm zoned out and I'm just kind of relaxing. So even though these two countries are thousands of miles apart and they have completely different perceptions of the world, they all strive to achieve the same kind of happiness and they want to accomplish their goals. Speaking of goals, I dream of traveling all around the world. I have a map that hangs on my wall next to my bed, and I'm always looking at it to see where I'm going to go next, or if I'm curious about a certain country, I look at it. Last summer, my mom took me to Spain, and even though it was only for a week, it was an experience that changed my life. Maybe not in a dramatic way, but subtly. Everything I saw comes back to me sometimes. It's always in the back of my mind. All of these small experiences contribute to how I act, think, or speak at any given moment. During the trip, I had to speak in Spanish to people, and the native speakers always wanted me to speak to people in Spanish. And even when I felt uncomfortable, they insisted that I speak Spanish to them. So they were really encouraging though, and eventually I found myself doing something easily that I had always dreamed of doing for years. It was always hard for me to speak Spanish, even to someone who doesn't speak any Spanish and doesn't know if I sound like an idiot or not. It was still hard for me. So it seems like a tiny detail, but all these small interactions that I had when I was in Spain made me better. Even if I didn't realize it, even if I don't think about it all the time, they add up. So the uniqueness and imagination have always been necessities for anyone who ever wants to go his or her own way in life. I can stand out from the crowd and have a different view than anyone else in the world, different experience. Just like every country provides a unique culture for every person within it. The imagination gives way to the planning and motivation I need to help me achieve any goal that I may dream up. For example, whenever I learn a new language, people from other countries are always there to help me. And along the way, I come out with a deeper understanding of the world as a whole. I never knew that languages have different ways of saying things that we can't really express in English, and vice versa. A few months ago, I started learning Arabic, and one of my best friends, who's a native speaker, told me one day that there's no word for murder in Arabic. And I asked her, well, why not? For us, it's something it's in TV shows, it's in movies. Of course we have a word for murder. We have like 10 different words for murder. So she said, well, here's the thing. The connotation of the word murder implies that there's an intent or desire to kill, which isn't really that prevalent in our culture. And that's when I realized that even the subtleties in our words show our differing beliefs and cultures. So hopefully you've thought about the map on a deeper level. First, I talked about the map's traditional role of guiding people to other places and giving each place a space to define its own cultural norms and values. And then I explain why these concepts give me the ability to have my own space as an individual to reach my goals, just like a destination pinpointed on a map. I hope next time you look at a world map, instead of a bunch of really long names that you have no hope of pronouncing, I hope you see a straight line from where you are to where you want to be.